Morning. Today it's all about transfer speculation and one player that looks like Celtic may have lost out on when it comes to reports from Portugal. A big shout out to Paul, the Irishman in Porto, for sending us the link to that paper. And we need to talk about, first of all, obviously there's Lewis Palmer, who's got an option to buy. Odin Ohm, who is in Los Angeles. Stephen Welsh, who is in Belgium, Marco Tilio, who will never be seen back at Celtic, as far as I'm concerned. Gustav Lagerbielke is having a fantastic time of his life at FC20, and it looks like he will ask to leave this summer also. But there's one player that Celtic have been linked with for a couple of seasons, and it is the Brøndby player. No, it's not Lenon Miller. We'll talk about him in just a minute because there is news regarding him from a certain player who speaks in the media, and I wouldn't tell him anything. If you're Lenon Miller and you're in the dressing room with Andy Halliday, you take one look at Andy Halliday and you go, mate, I'm not telling you all. In fact, I'm going to tell you the opposite, which I'm actually going to do, and that's just the way it is. But anyway, Mateus, it looks like Mateus is on the move, and noises coming out of Portugal suggest that he's going to be heading to Portugal this summer. Now, these things are generally worked out a couple of months in advance. Could it be the players of the mindset now that Celtic haven't been prepared to push the boat out for him on the several occasions that they have made offers? And they haven't wanted to break the bank, they haven't wanted to push the boat out to make sure. And that says a lot to a player. And you know, it's maybe in the back of his mind, it's like Celtic have had their chances and they didn't push the boat out far enough to get me. And maybe the team in Portugal is. You never know. Maybe they are, but they are claiming that they are going to get the player this summer. But on the reverse side of it, Brendan Rodgers has come out and said, he did come out and say to the media, well, to Celtic television, they said, look, it's easier for Celtic to go out and get a winger than it is Celtic to go out and get a striker. Now, that was an interesting comment from Brendan Rodgers. We all know that Celtic want to keep Dyson Maeda. I just hope that the Dyson Maeda deal does get done. I mean, I think it will. I think Rio Hatate will be one player that will be sold for Lenon Miller coming in. If Andy Halliday's correct, we won't get Lenon Miller and we'll be up a creek without a paddle with that one. But then there's other players that Celtic may be after. But the Brøndby striker, it looks as if he may be off to Portugal rather than Celtic. Celtic have had a few bids turned down by Brøndby. Brendan Rodgers has come out and said, look, it's easier to play Dyson through the middle and it's easier to go out and get a winger. Now, if that's true, it means that we're going to drop out the race for Mateus, because it was around about 14 million they wanted for him. There was an 8 million sellout buyout clause coming into play this summer, and everyone thought maybe Celtic were hanging off. But maybe the Celtic have went, do you know what, Dyson's playing through there. We've got Adam Ida, we've got young Johnny Kenny. He's talking about Dyson Maeda. In my first pre-season back out in Japan, he sorted a hat trick. I could see his movement and his runs and his finishing. Of course, we had Kyogo here at the time. We had Adam Ida who came in. But I always like to press at the top end of the pitch, and who brings intensity to the game? Is Dyson. For me, with the runs and goals, he's the man for me to go forward as the main striker. Now, I just hope that it does get the deal done, because if Dyson Maeda was to leave this summer, I think it would be very, very, very hard for Celtic to try and replace him. And I think if we're going to the next season with Adam Ida as our number one striker, I think that there could be a little bit of not too many happy fans. Although Adam Ida did help us win the Scottish Cup last year, and he helped us win the league. He's not been as prolific, but then again, he's not really got the game time. When he was asked to step in front after Kyogo left, he was banging in goals. If he plays through the middle, Adam Ida's problem is he's played as a winger, and previously, when he plays through the middle on the 6-yard box, you know, the balls that we put in, he scores goals. And Adam Ida's issue is that as a striker, he seems to go out wide. Dyson Maeda, he likes to run through the middle and just terrorise defenders, and I think that he needs to be on a 50 grand a week contract. So with the news that the Brøndby striker may be leaving, well, he is going to leave Brøndby, it's looking more unlikely that his destination will be Celtic. But you never know, that one could come back and bite you on the bum. Andy Halliday talking about Lenon Miller. Andy Halliday, who's obviously doing the rounds, even though he's still a player, he's doing the rounds on various podcasts, said that he'd be amazed if he went to Celtic. He's like, that. I'd be amazed if he went to Celtic. He wants to play week in, week out. And if it's between Celtic and somebody in Serie A, I think that he would go the Italian club route. I think it all comes down to whether or not we sell Rio Hatate. There's a big expectation out there now that we're actually going to sell Rio Hatate because we're going to maximise the return on the investment and what we'll get for the player. He's said over the past 2 years, remember, the past 2 summers, Rio Hatate has said that he wants to play at a higher level domestically. He wants to go to one of the top 5 leagues. But you never know. Andy Halliday says he wants to play every minute of the game, talking about Lenon Miller. So if it's between Celtic and somebody else, he's going to go to somebody else, he thinks. He says it's a telling assessment, anyone that shows interest in Miller. But the decision could hinge on more than just the club and playing time. Development pathway. I think if Lenon Miller's coming to Celtic, he wants to be in and around that midfield. He wants to be playing every week. We all know this. Is the battle just beginning? And will Celtic ultimately miss out on another fantastic midfield player? Is he going to be the next John McGinn? Can he control that Scotland midfield? Can he control the Celtic midfield? Never mind the Scotland midfield. Can he take over from Callum McGregor in a few years' time? Remember, he's still just a young kid. He is still just a young kid in the grand scheme of football things, you know what I mean? So he has got a lot of progression to make as a player. The fact that he's captain Motherwell at such a young age, it'll be interesting to see whether we do get him this summer or not. Now, the master plan that Celtic have got this year is anybody's game. We will be looking for another winger because Lewis Palmer has exited the building. He's decided that his future lies elsewhere, and he's went back to Greece. Fair play to him. But Celtic will be in the market for another winger. We are in the market for another midfielder because if Rio Hatate leaves, it will free up some space. People say, you've got Luke McCowan. Is Luke McCowan really the long-term answer? Can he up his game to the next level? The age he is, I'm thinking that we kind of know the level he is for SPFL, but can he take it to that next stage further on a European stage? I think that there's still question marks about the player at that level. But I mean, you're basically saying that he's better than Callum McGregor. Is he? I'm not too sure about that. But it's all going to be a fucking interesting summer, isn't it? Anyway, on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are. Tell me what you think about Lenon Miller to Celtic. Will Celtic pay the money? And what about Mateus? Is it going to be such a big loss if we keep Dyson? Will we keep Dyson? And how much of an important player is Rio Hatate? Will it be the last summer of Rio Hatate? Personally, I think it will be. I've been calling it all season. We'll wait and see. On that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. Make sure you join us tonight. We will be talking about the game this weekend. And I wonder who'll play.